So sloppy. Ladies and gentlemen, the Empire is back. The Empire Strikes Back. So for those of you that don't remember, my name is Dan Boole. I am one of the co-founders of 65 Amps in North Hollywood, California. And we brought back one old friend here, the Empire. The nod is to the British Empire, right? So there's sort of three Marshall voices here. Early, mid, and later. And they're all fun. They're all in one amp. And this amp is only 6v6s. So it's only 22 watts, and it has the master voltage on it, so you can knock it down to whatever you want. We were just goofing off and went, hey, let's play with the Empire, because to confess, when we took the Empire to the NAMM show, we didn't really think it was done. Which is really common for amp makers. Like, you just got to get the stuff out, right? So we thought we'll go to NAMM. We'll get through NAMM and then we'll go home and finish it. Well, at NAMM we got like 100 orders, so I guess it's fine, right? Maybe we're being too picky. So I have 3 of these, and this one is for sale. Buy the amp. Help 65 get restarted. Yeah, it's for sale. And I can't say prices on here on the stream, or the algorithm, easy for me to say, the algorithm will, I'm tired, man, I was out late last night. The algorithm will figure out we're trying to sell something and want to charge taxes and do all this crazy stuff. So this amp, as it sits right now, has vintage tubes in it. Not for the power tubes, but in the preamp section. So that would be a little more money. If you want it just with standard grade tubes, we got it. We got 3 of them. So let me know. It's a great amp. It's in good shape. It's a brand new cabinet. The chassis is a 9.5 out of 10. It's got the early, you know, JTM-ish, early plexi kind of sound here. And it's all on a foot switch. I just brought a 1-button foot switch. It needs a 2-button foot switch, but... So that's kind of late 60s through mid 70s sort of sound. You're getting some of the guitar through my vocal mic, the acoustic part of it. I can solo this out, and we can do that in a little bit. But I want to wait till some more people get on. We'll tell the whole story, and then you can go up to sort of, you know, 80s. Lots of gain. Before the original version of the Empire, we weren't wild about that 3rd channel yet. But everybody seemed to like it. So if you have an Empire, hey Basil. Wow. You'll take it off my hands? Just kidding. Oh, come on, man. Don't kid like that. But if you have an Empire, we can update it to this also. Little mod charge to do it, but we can do it. It's some work. Made about 5 changes to the circuit, so it's a little bit of time and effort. You think this one is a dud? Oh, you'll take it off my hands. Well, for a fee, we can do that. Anyway, it feels great under finger. It feels like a real, you know what. So, you know, early 60s kind of British thing. I do. Yorn, I have 2 marquees. And I can do that. We can talk about that. Message me on the side and we'll talk about it. I do have 2 marquees. One of them is an artist amp that is used. And another one's a build sample. The artist amp was, there's a guy in Japan named Tamio Okuda. Or if you're being correct, it's Okuda Tamio, who's huge in Japan. He's like the Tom Petty of Japan, 12 straight #1 records or whatever. He took a marquee really early on. Like it's one of the first ones we ever made. And I was over at Sound City Studios in like 2003, 2004. And he was recording in there with there was another band down the hall called the Rolling Stones. And I sold amps to Ron Wood and Mick and Ron Wood bought London's. And I was there and I met Tamio, who was super, super nice. Great player too, like really old school rock and roll guy. And I had this amp in tow with me, and he loved it and said, "Can you make it 100 volts for Japan?" Yeah, sure, of course. So I have that amp, and it was on the road for years. And he's such a nice guy when he was all done with it after God, I don't know what it was. It was over a decade. He sent it back. He said, "Here, man, I love the amp." He paid for it, too. It was weird. But he sent it back and said, "You guys can use it." So you guys probably saw on the fans page, I was out at the Canyon Club last night. A little VIP action. Look at me, I'm special. I was out at the Canyon Club last night for Norman's Rare Guitars Midnight Mission fundraiser. And Jason Sine's band played to begin with, and David Limo, Michael Limo, that works at Norm's, was playing. And after that was Orianthi, who played, and Michael Limo played with her too. And it was great. It was really cool. And then after that was the Nelson twins, Gunnar and Matthew Nelson. And man, they sounded great. I mean, we know them from that 90s record, when they jokingly say they used to look like Swedish chicks. That was a long time ago. It was 35 years ago. They've grown up and they sing really good, just like their dad did. And they did a couple of their dad's songs and killed it, just killed it. It was really good. Gunnar Nelson especially was really nice to us and helped us out with the table and everything. It was really nice people. And then Melissa Etheridge closed the show. And she killed. She's absolutely killed. So apparently they raised a lot of money for the Midnight Mission. The Midnight Mission is downtown LA, and it's, it's in Skid Row. And Norman Harris does this a couple times a year out at the Canyon Club, and it's a huge success. So there's a place in heaven for Norm Harris, right? If you want to buy a used vintage guitar, buy it from Norman. It goes to a good thing. I don't know if you guys heard, but Carter Vintage in Nashville just bought Norman's. Norman's still going to be there, but I forgot to put this up on the fan page. Can one of you guys do me a favor and post a link to this on the fans page? I forgot to put this up. I'm tired, man. I was out late. You can see it in my face. It was a good night, a loud rock and roll, and if you guys are ever in LA, you should really go to the Canyon Club. It's amazing. Big place. Nice PA, killer lights, nice stage. You feel like you're in an old school rock and roll show. It's great. It's maybe 4 times the size of a normal nightclub. It's big. And it's great. Really, like, nice PA system. You're not getting you know, your eyebrows blown off. It sounds really good. And they got dinner there and food, and it's really nice. I hadn't been to the Canyon Club in a while. I forgot how nice it was. The show was a lot of fun. It's kind of funny when the Nelsons were playing, they did a couple of their dad songs, and I forgot how good those Ricky Nelson songs are. I mean, I know it was part of my childhood. Funny story, like I was telling my wife yesterday. So, I grew up in Columbia, Missouri. And there were a lot of reruns on when I was a kid. And I didn't know there were reruns, because I was little. I just thought it was a TV show. Ozzie and Harriet was one of them. I did not really care about Ozzie and Harriet. Like, the storylines were kind of weird, but all I knew was that was the show where at the end of the show, the kid with the ducktail haircut sang a song. And they were good songs. And that was Ricky Nelson, right? So, of course, my mom, who was a late teenager in the 50s, or, ninth grader, that kind of thing. She was born in 43, right? So, she was 14 years old when that show was big. She had a huge crush on Ricky Nelson, and I had no idea. And then one of the first 45s I ever bought was Garden Party when I was a little kid. Like, remember when 45s were 50 cents? And you could go to a drugstore and get a 45 record for 50 cents. One of the first ones I ever bought was Garden Party. And I didn't think about it, like how much Rick Nelson was part of my growing up. And I loved, the whole country rock movement out here is kind of descendant from Rick Nelson. Stone Canyon Band, Rick's manager was the guy that put together the Eagles. And so all of those bands that came out of Southern California, the country rock bands like Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, Jackson Browne, Poco, all that kind of stuff that became the Eagles, Graham Parsons' version of the Byrds, that kind of thing. That's all kind of Rick Nelson's ecosystem. And it was kind of neat. And then I started looking, and my wife goes, your haircut, like when Rick was in the 70s when he had long hair, she said, your hair is just like him. Is it Rick Nelson's haircut? And I go, not intentionally, but I guess it kind of is, isn't it? So anyway, that was kind of neat. And then to meet his sons, who were extremely nice people, like really, really nice people. It was good. But anyway, let's talk amplifiers and Marshalls and guitar love and rock and roll. Well, she's 9 years old, sweet as she can be. All dressed up like a downtown Christmas tree. Yeah. I got in the mood for old rock and roll last night. Listen to that. 'Cause she's a sweet little rock and roller. Daddy can hardly hold her. Sweet little rock and roller. Daddy don't have to scold her. Yeah. Man, I got goosebumps just playing that song. Like, need some rock and roll, man. Who's here in LA and wants to play a real rock and roll? Not a goofball rock band, but a rock and roll band. And yeah, it was fun. So hearing those guys play some of the old music was really nice. Which Rick Nelson song? They did Traveling Man, and they did Mary Lou, I think. And they were both great. They nailed it, because they're twins. They sing that harmony together, and it's just perfect, right? Anyway, I forgot to share this over on the fans page. Can somebody do that for me? Because that's where a lot of the people come from, and I forgot. I think I can just do it here. Hold on, let me see. Let me jump over to the fans page really quick. Give me just a second. And I'll see what I can do. Hold on. Be patient with me. Stop teasing me. These dumb pop-ups. Fans. 65 amps. There it is. Oh my God. I've been a member of this page since 2008. Can you believe that? That's what it says. All right. Pardon the pounding. Anyway, so I had so much fun doing this Empire, and we got 3 of them. Maybe you guys might dig it. Okay, now I'm back. Sorry. Rob Price says, I saw the Nelsons play about 2 years ago. Their drummer, David Keith, is a friend of mine. All right, Gunnar loves Gretches. Yeah, but tours with tellies. You can use the telly as a canoe paddle, and it will still work. That's right. That is correct. Yeah, last night they were just doing acoustic. They're both playing Martin D28s. And they sounded great. They sounded really good. So this is the first channel. Oh, I sense a glass of water in need here shortly. Excuse me. This is the first channel, which is basically just like early Marshall. So you know the early Marshalls were clearly. Oh man, I got a little bit left here in my little protein shake. Hold on a second. The earliest Marshalls were descendant from Fenders, right? They're kind of just the same circuits, only they used all British parts, which is always funny when people go, "Oh, JTM 45, just a copy of a Bassman." Well, it is and it isn't. On paper, it looks pretty similar. So do 80% of all amps on Earth. Look pretty similar on paper. But, you know, it had different transformers, different tubes, different resistors, different capacitors, and very different speakers. So they're similar. It's not a copy. You know. That's sort of an axiom that the Fender guys say, you know, and I've heard them saying that up until recent years at NAMM. Well, you know, Jim Marshall just copied a Fender. Truth be told, the Fender got their circuits out of the RCA tube manual. So, because Leo Fender was a radio repairman, you know, K&F, the original company, was a radio repair shop in Fullerton. So those circuits come right out of the RCA tube manual. Whereas, you know, Vox and people like that took their stuff out of the Mullard tube manual. So it's not uncommon practice. It's not deceptive. It's not devious or anything. That's just what people did, you know. And the guitar amp industry was so new, there wasn't snobbery or this is going to be collectible, or they just liked amps that worked and turned up loud. That was it. Like John Lennon's famous quote, some interviewer was saying, "What's your favorite guitar amplifier?" And he said, "One that turns on." You know. Rob Price says, I'll have to check out the show later in New York City with my wife. Oh, have fun, Rob. Tell your wife hello. And yeah, it'll be here. Forever emblazoned upon Facebook and YouTube. So anyway, if we go up to like late 60s, the proverbial plexi thing, they really were kind of the same amp. There wasn't much difference, only they had different transformers and they started using different components on the board. I don't know if the gain structure was a whole lot different. It might have been marginally more gain, just a little bit. But it had a different tonality because, you know, JTM 45s were made with radio spares transformers, mostly. And, you know, you get into the later era, they're made with Drake and Dagnall transformers, which sound different, you know. Also, the radio spares transformers, I think, were hand wound, whereas the Dagnalls and the Drakes were machine wound, you know, more factory production. Because Marshall's getting bigger. They needed that supply. That's pretty cranked up. Like I can turn that down, get a little less gain. Man, that's home base sound for me. That sounds like I really like that. Los Dodgers. Does it say Dodgers or Doyers on this one? I have some that say Doyers, but anyway. Yeah, a lot of Spanish-speaking people in LA. It's a secret code language that nobody can understand. You can kind of hear there's a plexi. I don't know what. There's not a word for it. Like the adjectives fail. There's an upper mid-range honk in there that's very distinct and cuts. So you think about a lot of 70s music or 60s music. A little more dirt on that, maybe. There. That's inherent in those circuits, right? That kind of percussive. Very percussive sounding amps. So the fun trick with this is that it's 6v6s, so it's not super loud. Like, and normally you have a 50-watt plexi with no master volume. That thing's louder than hell. The modern world does not facilitate playing that loud anywhere, really, unless you're playing at the Whiskey A Go-Go on the Sunset Strip. And even there, they got a pretty good PA system. You don't have to blast anymore. Anyway, good tone. Sounded like the proper thing, he said 3 times. Anyway, man, I'm tired, you can tell. You guys got any questions or thoughts on your mind? Like I said, I got 3 of these, and they're for sale. And we can mod your old Empires. Actually, even some of your old 65s do the same thing. We kind of came up with a way to get rid of the really gritty, raspy thing on the top. These amps aren't gainy amps, right? So when you crank them up, they can get a little bit of an artifact on top of it, or we can get rid of that. This is really focused and clear. Not that the original Empire wasn't. This is just a little better, you know. Let me mute my vocal mic and just play this for a minute so you can hear it without the clicky. Right here. I'm going to solo the guitar so you won't hear me talk, which is probably a bonus for a lot of you. But I'm just going to play for a minute, and then I'll come back. Okay? All right. There you go, clinkers and all. Sorry, man, I am tired today. Anyway, so right after this, I'm taking this amp over to the newly minted Chaplin Studios, which used to be Henson, one of my favorite places on earth. So Tom Sarowski is working there in Brendan O'Brien's room, recording this band. I always forget the last word is drag. I forgot what it is. Can you guys help me out? It's Ultimate Drag or American Drag or something. I can't remember what it is, but anyway, really great rock band. And they're going to use this. We're going to record with it today. So I can get you some sound clips, you know. Because what you're listening to now is an IR. I'm not playing it live. And it's a pretty good illusion, but a live thing sounds a lot better. We kind of tuned this using our 112 cabinet with the G12H30 in it. It sounds good out loud. Just can't do that here, unfortunately. Dennis, how are you, buddy? Dennis down in Puerto Rico. How you doing, buddy? Nice weekend for Puerto Rico last weekend, huh? That was cool. Bad Bunny Benito did great. Did really good. And it was funny, you know, because when I met you down in Puerto Rico, I got to see a lot of the island. I thought, wow, he really did show it off well. He did a good job. It was cool. If you guys haven't been to Puerto Rico, you should go. It's really nice. It's very cool. Beautiful place. And the people are universally nice. And they're all Americans, by the way. And they speak a language that 20% of Americans speak. So. It's not some secret code. And actually, as long as we're at it, like people in Puerto Rico speak a very artistic, pretty version of Spanish. It sounds more like Italian than when you're out here on the West Coast. It's really nice. It's really nice. But anyway, Dennis, how are you? How's the band? You guys still gigging, having fun? Yeah? I hope so. I hope so. So Dennis, this is an Empire. We've updated the Empire. So it's a little tighter, a little more focused, and the distortion is a little nicer, I think. We did like 5 changes to the circuit. So I've got this amp for sale. This is my 335, which you guys heard last week. I mean, I could bring another guitar if you want and put a Strat through it. Band's great. Oh, good, man. Glad to hear it. So then if we want to go all the way up, you know. This is only on 5 on this channel. I mean, you can get a lot dirtier than this, but... Yeah, it is a little tighter, a little thicker, a little more tidy, you know. They're going to do the... Definitely got that. My playing's not up to speed today. I'm sorry, I'm really tired. I was out late last night, rocking and rolling. middle position. We can go down to a little earlier version here and then back to the neck. This also takes pedals really well, like if I put the clon on top of it. And it's a pretty clear pedal thing, huh? I'm not doing a lot of distortion with the clon, obviously. That was neck pickup, you know. Sounds pretty good. Man, even if I don't like Benito's type of music, which is not my kind of music either, I just kind of like him. And the guys sure know how to put on a great show. Indeed, they did, man. I thought that halftime show was amazing. And I loved it. It was all about love. I don't know who wouldn't like that. The little kid he gave his Grammy to. Come on, man. That was awesome. That was so nice. The only thing stronger than hate is love. Is that what he put on it? There you go, buddy. I don't know who would be offended by that, but I saw the numbers on it. The one that struck me, you know, I'm a statistics guy. I studied economics in school and everything. There's an over and under on his, like 127 million people watched the Super Bowl. 135 million watched the halftime show. So that means that 8 million people tuned in, 8 million extra people tuned in just to see the halftime show, which is great. And then the other one, the White Power rally, got 4.5 million voters. So the over and under there is 8 million versus 4.5, just the difference. Not to mention the 135 versus 4.5 million. So yeah, there was a lot of symbolism there, Dennis, wasn't there? It was really well done, I thought, you know. But there's a lot of symbolism that he uses that you see in San Juan when you go there. Even the old dudes playing dominoes, like, yeah, I saw that. You know, I noticed guys like that. Our friend Charles, who I was there, I went to one of those, you know, men's clubs that his dad belongs to, and they're playing dominoes and, you know, smoking cigars, and it was great. And then the street vendors and, you know, all that stuff that are so good in San Juan, and the food is amazing there. And then I still can't get over that little boy. He was so adorable. And that was really his Grammy. He gave him his Grammy. Anyway, enough of that. I know it pisses people off to talk about that. I honestly don't know why. And I don't mean that to be political. I'm just telling you, as a human being, I don't know why that would bother you. Hey, Phil, what's happening, man? Better late than ever. Well, I think you're going to make it. I'm going to sack it in early today. I'm heading over to the Chaplin Studios, a.k.a. the old Henson Records, a.k.a. the old A&M record, now owned by John Mayer. And I'm pleased to hear that he's not changing much there. He's more intending to preserve the place. Hence the name change back to Chaplin Studios, which is what it was originally when Charlie Chaplin started it in 1922 or whenever it was. I think that's right, 1922. Maybe somebody could fact check me on that. It was called Chaplin Studios. And John Mayer has restored the name. And apparently he's trying to preserve the place and the building. So I'll try to get some pictures if I see anything. I know the same studio manager's there, who's awesome. Been there a long time, 25 years kind of thing. Oh, you got out, tell Joe hi, Joe Glazer. So, anyway, I've been bending some strings. Yeah, this guitar came from Austin, Texas, so it's just starting to get used to California. Yeah, you get too much coming through the microphone. Let me back off. This amp's fun. The new version, I mean, I know the Empire really well, right? And this version of it works. It's really good. I'm happy with it. There you go, Phil. 63 Custom Shop reissue. I didn't really change it. I just put the Faber bridge on it, the tone lock bridge, and their tone lock studs, which are great. Made a big difference because it had the original like nylon saddle bridge, you know, from the '60s. I traded an amp for it. Didn't cost me a dime. Where am I here? Aha. I am going to take it and have Michael DeTemple put on a fossilized Mastodon Ivory Nud. It makes the tuning more stable, plus it makes the guitar ring a little better. Not night and day difference, but you can hear it. You can hear it for sure. Yeah, I'm digging it, man. Yeah, I sound like I feel better. Oh, cool. Yeah, I just got to bed thinking bad thoughts for the Lesters. I don't know what you mean by that, but I like the way you said it. I'm feeling better. Yeah, I still have a gas bubble in my eye, but it's going down just ever so slightly every day. My sinus infection is 95% gone. It's still there. Nasty thing is going around. A lot of people I know that got the same thing said, man, you're going to be sick for a month. I'm like, oh, God. Lots of weird things going on. I read an article, who was it by? I can't remember, but it said, you know, with global warming, which is real, I don't care what you think. It's verifiable, observable, measurable change in the climate. It's allowing new viruses to create. The Faber. It's just the Tone Lock ABR1. Go on their Faber USA. Go on their website. I couldn't recommend it more. I love it. But anyway, because of the climate change and the longer warm period, all that stuff, it allows new viruses to, viruses just mutate, right, and turn into something that can survive. And it's allowing new versions of viruses around, and it's very common to get a cold now for 2 or 3 weeks instead of 4 to 7 days, right? So. Hey, Phil, the pickups are these are custom buckers. They're not burst buckers, they're custom buckers, which I really like. I'm not a big fan of burst buckers. They're not awful, but it's just not my thing. I don't think I'm going to change it. Because it's a 335, and if you've ever changed pickups on a 335, you will invent new cuss words doing that. There's a whole lot of words that start with F that come to mind when you change. I mean, look at it. Like, how do you get to this, right? You have to take the pickups out and go through the hole and use a flashlight and mirrors and try to solder. Fuck you. That's horrible. I don't know why Gibson never thought of putting some access door on the back, but maybe it affects the integrity of the guitar. I don't know. There's a lot of really good overtones that I'm hearing in my headphones, at least. I don't know if it's getting to you or not, but I'm hearing some very distinct mid, 68 to 73 kind of Marshall fingerprints in there that I really like. Fan of the patent granted T-top critters. Yeah, yeah, they're great pickups. These are, like I said, these are called custom buckers, and I like them. I didn't know they were making. Yeah, there's some overtones getting through. You know, StreamYard and Facebook and everything put an awful lot of compression on this. When I listen to it afterwards, it doesn't really resemble what I'm hearing right now that much. It's close enough, but there's some kind of things happen there that really seem to have the fingerprints of what we're going for. So yeah. Custom buckers. Oh, Lovey, did I tell you that I tried to commit suicide the other day? I jumped off my wallet. Yeah, I love Thurston Howell III. That character was brilliant. We could have a whole show talking about great TV characters from the 60s. Like, Thurston Howell III was amazing. I mean, amazing. Jim Backus was the actor. If you ever hear him speak in real life, he sounds nothing like that, but he was so convincing. You know, darling, get me another Rob Roy. You know, it's just beautiful. But the all-time world champion of crazy 60s TV characters is Mr. Haney from Green Acres. You guys know Mr. Haney, right? And there's one of my border collies looking out the window. Darla, what are you doing? Darla, come here and say hi to everybody. She's our newest rescue. She was a farm dog who was being abused. So we've had her for a little over a year now, and she's getting really amazing. She's purebred, you know, pedigreed border collie. I don't know why the rancher farmer dude was abusing her. She's really smart. I mean, really smart, like crazy smart. Yeah, that's right. Winters from Mad Mad World. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, Mr. Haney started every sentence with, "Well, Mr. Douglas." And it was so funny. So when I was out playing on the road, you know, we had a lot of mechanical, you know, gear breakdowns. So one of the ways we would pass time to keep people from leaving while somebody was fixing a power amp or something, or a bass drum pedal that fell apart, we'd do impressions. And so my favorite to do was Mr. Haney, only really inappropriate Mr. Haney. You know, like, "Well, Mr. Douglas, I tried to fix the door, but your wife came out in that negligee and everything was just popping out. And I kind of lost my train of thought, if you know what I'm saying." Hey, Tom Fox from Australia. How are you, buddy? I'm good. I love Mr. Haney. He's so good. And he never did anything right, you know. He was a handyman sort of dude, I guess. And everything that Douglas asked him to do, he messed it up. And he always had some incredibly good bullshit excuse. "Well, Mr. Douglas, you see, I intended." And you're like, okay, whatever, man. You think about Green Acres, there was a woman there who was named Ralph. And she also had a pig named Ralph. Totally normal, right? Yeah. Tom says, "Ooh, that amp sounds chewy. Very nice. Thank you." Yeah, this is the updated version of the Empire. We kind of went through it, and, you know, it's been a while. This one's for sale, by the way. It's basically a brand new amp, but fully warranted and everything. We don't know what to call it. Empire 2.0, Empire Custom, Empire Next. The Emperor, I don't know. Really not a fan of Ted personally, but that record's really good. Yeah, this is my first time really hearing new administration, right? Yeah, what's that? The Who song? Way too dirty for that. Let's go back to the mid 60s. Call it the Federation. Yeah, there you go. Got a good British tone, doesn't it? Yeah, The Empire Strikes Back. I like that, yeah. Now, we know Pete Townsend didn't play Marshalls, but you get the gist, right? I'm digging that. Some good overtones there. I've only heard it through a little 112 cabinet over at Mike's shop. Yeah, that's good. I like it. So, and if I roll this back, I mean, you can get a pretty good clean sound out of it. Now you're just going to hear it on my vocal mic, so I got a way to get it. I'm tired. If I had a good reverb pedal, I got an okay reverb pedal. Let's put a little verb on there and see what happens. A little clean with some verb. Uh-oh. Something went wrong there. Oh shit, I lost everything. What happened? I don't hear anything. Oh, there we go. Let's get some real verb here. Hold on one second. Reading glasses needed. Okay. Whoops. Can't do it today, man. It's that late. Which reminds me of the Rick Nelson song. Rick Nelson. Well, it's late. Gotta get on home. Anyway. Actually, you know what, Tom? It was just my headphones that came loose. So. I did it again. I'm pushing my headphone jack around too much. Anyway, yeah, you get the idea. Yeah, and just run the cleanest, just not really the clean channel, but it's the lowest gain channel, right? Run it up to like 7, you got a great rock and roll sound. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm talking about. Go to mid-level for the same riff. So hear the difference there, you know. Yeah, 6v6s, that's right. I'll get better down on the lower gain for that. Don't ask me about the shape I'm in. I can't sing, I can't dance, and my legs are thin. No, I ain't pretty. Whatever the words, I always mess it up. There's so many versions of it around. I've heard other people do it and sing the lyrics wrong, and it's stuck in my head incorrectly. But yeah, man. There you go. So it's 12:51. I got to head over to Chaplin Studios here in a minute. So I'll try to get some pictures. We're going to take this dude there. And let me put this in the rack really quick. Oh, bonk. That made a noise. Thomas, can you guys help me with the name of the band? I forget what it's called. Something Drag, American Drag, Ultimate Drag. I can't remember. Anyway, good rock band. Tom's producing their record in Brendan O'Brien's room over at Chaplin Studios, the old A&M, the old Henson Studios. You too, Tom. Thanks for coming by, buddy. I appreciate it. I hope things are good in Australia. I know you guys are having a good showing at the Olympics, which is cool. Australia always punches above their weight in the Olympics for a country of 25 million people. They make a good showing every time. Like, there's more people in California than there is in Australia. We have 40 million people here. So Australia always does a great job in the Olympics, especially in the Summer Olympics. But I think that's really awesome. And plus, 99% of Australians I've ever met in my life are really nice people. On the internet, I've met some that are not good representatives of your country, but I think it was Socrates, or was it Plato, who said, what's the quote? Sorry, I'm cleaning up my 65 Porsche here. 65, you notice my 65 cars here on the amps? 65 Cobra. And a 65 Porsche 356. I think it was... after a country with limited snow, that's right. You don't have a lot of ski resorts in Australia. It was Socrates or Plato who said, fuck them, right? Australians are great. Everybody's got a few bad apples. We all have our fair share. But anyway, I'm really glad you tuned in from Australia. What time is it in your time zone, Tom? It's, I know roughly, like, this is super early in the morning. We have a lot of golf courses. That's right. That's right. You got a tournament this weekend. 7:53. Oh, so you're coming to us with your morning coffee and your jammies. That's really cool. Really nice. Really nice. Anyway, I have to run. I'm sorry to be short. Any last minute urgent questions you guys have? Or I should take this off because I look like I'm kind of showing off from last night. Had a really good time at the Canyon Club last night, and Mr. Nelson took care of us. That was really cool. Really cool. So anyway, great noise. Glad I made it. Thank you, Phil. I'm glad you made it too, man. You know, it's funny when I do the show, like, for every person that comes here, there's thousands that watch the click on the links. So I know I'm preaching mostly to a recorded audience. So don't tell me who wins. Anyway, I do got to run. I'm really grateful for you guys coming by. I know the world is still a crazy place and somewhat upside down, so don't let that get you down. Stay positive, and let's make the changes that we want to make in life. And I swear to you, it's all going to be okay. We're going to get through it all together. I don't know anyone that's happy with the state of the world right now. So let's all make it better. All right, enough preaching, Dan. Shut up. Okay, stop it. I will. Leave me alone. All right, I will. I got to go. Get in the car, running over to see Tom at the studio. I'm excited about it. I haven't been to Chaplin since it was Henson, 6 months ago when they changed the name, I think it was. Or was it the beginning of this year? I don't know. But I haven't been there since its new name or old name is restored. So I'm excited to see it. And I'll give you guys a report on. I'll try to take some pictures and everything. Okay. I love you guys. Once again, I promise it's all going to be all right. Don't worry. I'll see you next week. You guys take care. You guys have fun. Ciao, man.